This is Warren's Most Liked segment, in which you can share how you got started with Android, the problems you had along the way, and much more. If you don't know what to say, we'll help you along the way.
And finally, we'll be moving on to our last segment of the show, and we've saved the best for last. This is Warren's favorite segment. It needs no introduction, but this is the Android Journey segment. Warren?
Thank you so much for that, John. And I've been wanting this knucklehead to come on now for eons. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, I got Gary Melconian coming on to talk about his Android journey, something we've been wanting him to come on for a while. Yes. Gary, thank you so much for...
No problem. Hey, I've been a little chicken for 161 episodes. So
yeah, I know.
It's time.
At least you got it done. That's all that matters.
Yeah. And then today morning at 7:30 his time, I hounded him. Are you coming?
I'm making tea, and he's going, are you coming? Are you coming? I go, yeah, I'm coming. If I tell you I'm coming, I'm coming. It's just some things, sometimes things just happen. This is the time it happens. So we'll get to it. So you're gonna walk me through this, because I don't know how ask the questions, and I'll try to answer as best as possible. So.
Well, so it's just basically you've listened to a lot of our Android journey stories. So basically, you just take us down that memory lane.
My memory road. My memory road started with the old school.
So how about we go about when did you actually got started with Android, and
Android?
What are some of the problems?
2009, 2010. Family, friends, they had these, different LG phones. They had different, Samsung phones. Like, hey, what the hell? Let's take a look, see, what's this Android all about? So I played with it the first day. It was not the best. It was not accessible. I had to have somebody help me turn it on and all that. After, Android ice cream sandwich with the S3, with TouchWiz, it was just, it was still getting there, but not the best. But we had to do the rectangle to get accessibility. But once we got to Jelly Bean with Android 4, Android 4.2, then things got better. Then I got even more interested and more into it. And after a while, I had a cousin of mine who started a cellular company. He was able to get devices, so I was able to play with more devices. So as time went on, I got more interested in Android, and I've been here, since then.
So tell us, Gary, if someone is coming on to Android, because, the myth that we have going on out there, Android is so, inaccessible or not blind friendly, all of that talk. I know back in the day, that's honest review, because not every Android device is built equal. And you and I both know that earlier on, most of the phones that came out in 2008 and 2009, some of them did not have any accessibility in and things like that. So what would you say that your experience has been, from back then till now, comparing it to not even back then, but maybe even 5, 6, or 7 years ago? And so going back to 2014
or
just
say, 2014, 2015, the experience has gotten better to where it was, and it's even getting better. When we had we went from the angle gestures to the multi gestures. We went from no image recognition to we having some image recognition. We have the Braille keyboard. All these things have come over time, and it's improved the operating system, and it's improved the ecosystem. So there's now a level playing field of choice, depending on what you need to do, how you need to use the device, and what aspects of the device you need it to use it with accessibility.
Let's talk about some of your favorite phones throughout this journey, Gary. What are some of the devices that you like, and like an all-time favorite, for example? I know that both you and I still have my Nexus 6, lying here in the drawer.
I don't have that.
Which one will be your most all-time favorite from antiquity?
All-time favorite would be the OnePlus 6.
Nice.
because
Nice.
it had the headphone jack, it had the slider, it had it had everything. I mean, it had the physical fingerprint scanner on the back. You could interact with the talkback gesture with the fingerprint scanner. I mean, you could do a lot of things with that thing. That thing is a ancient thing. It's sitting in my closet. It's ROM. It's sitting on Android 12, but it's and that's another thing I got interested when I couldn't get the interfaces to work or my Android versions would get behind. I got interested into into the XDA community, into ROMing, and that's those are things that Android is like a fun, it's like a fun playground that you can do whatever you want with it.
You mentioned something about the newer stuff that we have in Android or in TalkBack, for example. We're talking about image recognition and the Braille keyboard for those that like virtual Braille or using the Braille display. What part of the image recognition do you like? Is there something that you could tell someone that's maybe just coming to Android and have never understood how it works and all of that? And
honestly, what I like is like some apps that you can't label the image image and the icon recognition. It will at least tell you, at least you have an idea what the button is or what the icon is. So at least you can actually interact with the app, and then maybe you can contact the developer if the buttons are not accessible. You can't label them, to be able to get into interaction with the developer to make the developer known that they can fix the app and make it even more, improve it. The interface to have it more users. That's how I see it. That's the benefit I see with that aspect of it. So
great. And this one is basically speculative, to be sure. I know Austin's talked about AI and all that AI brings to us. Now, speculatively, what do you think about what AI might, the role that AI might play in our screen reader? I mean, we're all speculating here. We don't know what it might, but you see where you think both would come together and giving us a better experience, especially with our screen readers.
Yeah, I can see it improving. There are areas that are refinements, and there's some areas that the AI will sometimes hallucinate. So it just depends. There's a lot of work to be done, and we just have to be on top of it. And we have to, we can't just rely on it doing it for us. We have to, we have to also be the driver of the AI, of the technology that's going to be coming, speculatively in the future.
Thank you so much. So yeah, Android journey story is always my favorite. And I think for me, though, when it comes to the Android journey story, is how everybody's experience is different from the other person and all of that. Now, were there any difficulties you had? Did you at any one given time felt like throwing away your
yes,
Android device out the window?
back in the day, the Samsung phones, that was what got me into roaming, because I didn't like the interface. So okay, you just Google around, and there's this community called XDA. Oh, okay, I go there and I see all these, you can do this and do that, and I said, okay, let me just tinker around, and I got tinkering. But the first time I ended up not doing things correctly, and then after a while I started learning, and that was how I got into roaming, and I still love it, and I still have plans with Austin to do some type of tutorial project for those that might be interested in doing something like that down the road. So yeah, it's very interesting, and there's a lot of good times ahead with Android to come in the future.
Did you ever break any
brick-
phone in the process
Yeah,
of
that's
my
roaming?
Yes, I did. I did.
How did you get yourself out of the jam?
No.
Tell us that story.
This was a very hard. Actually, I bricked the phone to the point that it was not even savable yet. I had to send it to the company. It was a Motorola G7 Power. This was with the AB days, the dual partition days, and this is before I asked Austin. I go, how do you do this? I had no clue. I said, it's how you do it, where you do the regular A roaming, and that was the device that I bricked. That was the device I learned not to do. A dual partition device has completely different partitions, completely different scenarios and situations, different processes, and that was what is the learning involved in it. If you don't break something or you don't try, or that's how you learn from something. That's been my experience.
Well, like I've always said, if you haven't broken something, you're not using it. Yeah.
Correct. Correct.
Well, great story, Gary. Thank you so much
No
for
problem. I will
that
I will
Android
be
journey
gladly
story.
joining from time to time with developer builds or whatever, whatever I can do to help the project, I will, do my part. So
Thank you so much.